the Spartan Swinger, Brian Carlucci, a.k.a. Brian Danovich from the WWE's $1 Million Tough Enough Challenge. I was the guy that got hurt and still competed. Oh, you are listening to In Your Head Radio, the greatest radio internet talk show live.
We got some people calling in here to take some phone calls. 954 area code. Who are you?
Yes, I'm Des Moines.
All right. You have a question? You've been on hold now for a while. You want to talk to him. You must have a question.
I'm glad you came prepared.
What?
Yeah, I was going to ask if you're like more of a Raw or SmackDown fan.
What do you think?
Are you more of a Raw or a SmackDown fan?
I think I'm more of a Raw fan. I feel like Raw has always been kind of the flagship program of the WWE. I became a fan when I was 12 years old back in March of '96, back when it was just Raw. And so Raw always kind of, as a fan, Raw always just has a special place in my heart.
Mm-hmm. That's the show.
Yeah, I feel like that is the show.
It's a can't miss show. Plus, it's live. There's always a little extra. There's always like you don't know what's going to happen because it's live. That's how I always.
Right. There's a reason I think why The Rock has taken his return to Raw and not SmackDown. There's a reason why John Cena is on Raw and not SmackDown. I feel like Raw really is the backbone of WWE's weekly programming.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to ask if you were surprised. Maybe that's not the right word, but like The Rock showed like so much passion. Were you surprised he did so much with you guys? Like he took bumps and like he really seemed to pay attention to all your guys' promos and really gave like a lot of feedback.
Yeah. To already be under the watchful eyes of guys like Bill DeMott, Booker T, Trish Stratus, and Stone Cold Steve Austin is already huge. I mean, as an aspiring, sports entertainer, WWE superstar, you couldn't ask for better training. But to have a guy like The Rock there, again, one of the biggest icons in the history of the business, to offer you constructive criticism about your promo, and I mean, he's arguably the greatest promo ever, arguably. And to have him there, I mean, and he's one of the probably busiest guys in showbiz between his movies and coming back to the WWE and just everything he's been doing. And this was, on the verge of Fast 5 premiering too, so he had all that stuff to deal with. He still took time out to drop by, to actually get in the ring with us, which is one of the biggest honors of my career by far. And then to actually stick around and take the time to dissect our promos, tell us what he liked, what he didn't like. It was an honor. It was an absolute honor and a pleasure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Crystal in Denver from our message board, she has a question. She wants to know, if you could wrestle anyone from the Tough Enough crew, who would it be and why?
If I could wrestle anybody from the Tough Enough crew, I'd like to wrestle Martin. Martin, I think, despite his Tough Enough run being cut short, I think he did so well when he was on the show. And, he and I got in the ring a couple times during the Skills Challenge. And, I forget which week it was. It was somewhere towards the middle, but he and I were actually the final two. And it was easy and it was fun in there with him. I mean, I ended up getting gassed before he did, but I was comfortable. I was relaxed. And, it was just a lot of fun being in there with Martin. He and I are very similar as far as weight, as far as height, and I think he and I can do some great things.
Do you keep in touch with any of the people from Tough Enough?
I do, actually. I'm like I said earlier, me and Martin, me and Eric formed a pretty good friendship. I still stay in contact with Rima from time to time, and every now and then Evie and I will check in with each other. But those four, I'd say, I formed the closest friendship.
Now, are you planning to still pursue getting to the WWE?
Absolutely. I mean, right now, even though I got eliminated from Tough Enough, I still feel like I'm this close to getting where I wanted to be for a very, very long time. It's no secret that just because you lose Tough Enough doesn't mean you don't have a future in the business. You got Josh Matthews, who was on season 1 of Tough Enough way back in 2002. And, he's been with the company 11 years now. I mean, he's obviously in non-wrestling capacity, but he still found a way to be a part of the greatest company and the greatest business in the world. You've got Miz, who lost the $1 Million Tough Enough, and obviously he's made a hell of a name for himself. He made it at WrestleMania, has been WWE champion, and he turned a loss and turned that into a huge win. And for somebody, who knows where Daniel Puder is these days? I don't even know if he's still alive or what. But he won Tough Enough, and he appeared, I think, at one WWE event and was never seen again.
We had him on the show. He was challenging Kurt Angle. I don't think that everything ever came of that. Go on.
Yeah. Careful what you wish for, I guess. I think Angle would dismantle him. But yeah, so I lost Tough Enough. I wish it could have lasted longer, but by no means do I consider it the end. I really think that I made an impact with that promo, and I'm hoping that it'll be enough to hopefully get a second look.
Mm-hmm. Are you currently taking bookings? Like indie bookings?
I'm actually still awaiting a response from USA to hear if I can accept indie bookings. We've got the finale of Tough Enough obviously coming up this Monday. You got the episode on USA at 8 o'clock, and you've got the announcement of the winner as a part of Monday Night Raw from Richmond, Virginia. So I can't imagine why I wouldn't be able to take bookings once Tough Enough is all done, but I'm still awaiting confirmation from USA. But, if there's anybody listening right now who's interested in booking me, you can send me an email at aj.kirsch, and Kirsch spelled Kirsch, @hotmail.com. And, I'll be in contact with you. And like I said, as soon as I hear from USA, if I can take bookings, then I'll be off and running. But until that happens, I'm just tunnel vision to WWE. I'm in the best shape of my life. I am ready and raring to go for whatever they may throw at me. So I'm optimistic that one way or the other, I'm going to be in the WWE.
Mm-hmm. And we'll have the email right on the website. So if you guys didn't get that or you can't spell, just copy and paste it. We're going to take one more call here. That. Yeah, I'll take one more call here. Nikhil's calling in from England.
Hi, AJ. I just wanted to ask, what advice did the main stars such as Bret Hart and Rey Mysterio give you outside of the cameras? So when obviously it wasn't been shooting the Tough Enough.
The question was a little garbled, but it sounded like he asked, what advice did Bret Hart and Rey Mysterio give me when the cameras were off? Did I get that?
Yeah.
Okay. Bret was, what I loved about Bret talking to us was that he really, Steve asked us all to get in the ring and take a knee, and Bret just talked on and on and on, and he was able to we were able to ask him questions, which was great. And, one of the things he said, one of the most important things that I took from that discussion, and I think it made it on the show, I'm not sure, but he said, remember you were a fan first, and remember that excitement and those butterflies and that inspiration you got as a fan watching wrestling, because that's who they want as their performer. And there was a clip on the Tough Enough app, exclusive content or something with Bill DeMott talking to Luke, and he's like, we want that kid. We want that guy who just gets excited about talking about wrestling. And we want that guy who, is can't wait to see what happens next. And we want those fans who really believe in what we're doing. But it's up to us to make them believe in what we're doing. And if we can make them believe, then they're going to come step for step for the story that we want to tell.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions from the board, Insure?
Let's see. We got one from Mr. Moxley. He wants to know, what was it like working for Roland Alexander and APW in your early days?
Yeah. Good part of my independent career was in All Pro Wrestling out of Hayward, California, kind of in the Oakland area. And Roland Alexander was the owner and one of the promoters over there. And He was great. He was really patient with me early on in my career, and I learned. I got a lot of great experience early on in my career with APW. Learned a lot, and those guys were responsible for giving me my first big push as far as independent wrestling was concerned. I was a part of a tag team called Ego, and we were all pro wrestling tag team champions for a year and a half, and we had victories over Kip James and BG James, also known as the New Age Outlaws. We had victories over America's Most Wanted back when they were TNA tag team champions, now Impact Wrestling. So APW was pretty instrumental in getting a lot of ring time under my belt and really, giving me consistent work and really letting me grow as a performer.
Mm-hmm. So real quick, I want to know, we talked about this earlier. Were you surprised that Matt Cross was eliminated so early? Because he's probably the biggest name in wrestling, from that group when the show started.
Yeah, I was surprised. I don't mean to rag on Ryan or anything, but when he came back and Matt didn't, my jaw just hit the floor. I mean, Matt, I was familiar with his work before Tough Enough, and, having 9 years experience, I mean, he could do things in that ring that nobody else on the show could do, probably the trainers included. I mean, he really is an artist inside that ring, but, I take a look at it from the trainer's perspective, and when he was in the ring, I mean, his movements were crisp and his technique was great, but they're really, his face was just kind of flat the whole time. And I don't blame him at all, though, because I think that's something that ultimately hurt me, because there was the question of when to just be yes sir, no sir, get in the ring and do what you're told and get out of the ring, mm-hmm. and when to actually step out and put some stank on it and put some flair on it. And, that's a risk I wish I would have taken more. I think it's a risk Matt wished he would have taken more in retrospect. But, that's when you're training in wrestling, and for all of us who even have experience, Tough Enough was day one for everybody. So you're taught yes sir, no sir, very soldier-like. You shut your mouth, you open your ears, and you listen. And I think Matt, he had the experience to really step out of the box, and the trainers wanted to see that, and he didn't.
Yeah.
But like I said, there was that line that no one was really sure when to cross early on between doing what you're told and putting your own flair on it.
Mm-hmm. You think maybe that might have been where more experience actually might have hurt people, because they were trying to be real respectful for everybody, but maybe like you said, they went overboard and didn't show everything they could do. Yeah,
they went overboard on being too reserved, and mm-hmm. I think you're right. That's something again that people with no experience, like Rima and Jeremiah, they weren't so straight-laced. They were a little bit more, I don't know if relaxed is the right word, but they didn't have that yes sir, no sir mentality. They were there to learn and to have fun doing it and to ask a lot of questions. And so I think in that respect, having less experience actually helped them out.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you for coming on tonight, and we hope
absolutely.
Hope you get to go to WWE or find a lot of success in the wrestling business.
Thank you, guys. I had a good time. I appreciate it. And, if the fans listening want to keep track of me, you can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/AJ Kirsch. And again, that's KIRSCH. And you can like my Facebook fan page, facebook.com/AJ Kirsch fan. Any bookings, appearances, news, anything that pops up, just follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, and you'll know about it.
Excellent. And I mentioned this, AJ's a big fan of the Andre song. So I think there's a big plus.
When I checked out your website and that Andre the Giant song, I was cracking up, man. That was funny stuff. I encourage everybody to check out the website. It's a hilarious tribute to Andre the Giant.
Excellent.
Formerly known as Hugh Morris the Laughing Man. And you're listening to In Your Head online.